Hello guys, this is InsideEIS, second episode. Today our special guest is Mr. Jason.
Thank you.
So
How's life, Mr. Jason?
yeah,
Good. End of the summer, start of autumn. I always like it. I'm not the biggest winter guy, but
as a Canadian,
you try to leave it behind. I practiced for 25 years. I'm over it.
yeah.
So we kind of watched the introduction video of you joining the school, just to get a bit of an insight on what to ask, what not to ask. And basically, we saw that you've lived in like an insane amount of countries:
Yes.
Saudi Arabia, UK, many others.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, what have the different cultures taught you, and how has it changed you as a person and as a teacher?
I can definitely say the thing that's taught me the most is that if you smile, the world smiles with you.
Okay.
If you show up to different cultures and try to tell them how it should be or why they're doing something wrong, it just doesn't really work.
Yeah, it makes sense.
I think what I've really noticed is that most cultures fit their environment. So Canada's very cold. If your car breaks down, somebody has to save you before you freeze to death. So we're all very, very nice.
Makes sense.
And
I mean-
so, yeah, if you judge a culture while you're there, it usually makes perfect sense. If you take the external perspective, it usually
Yeah.
messes up a bit.
I
So
mean-
it's just taught me kind of tolerance and understanding, I guess is the best answer.
I mean, the thing with Canada, it doesn't work in Russia like that. If your car breaks down, you probably have to
It's
figure it
your
out
fault,
on your
yeah.
own. They're just gonna say it's your own fault or something. Yeah.
True. I think there's a lot more Russians than Canadians that will kind of help you with. I think they got we've only got 30 million of us. And
How many? What's the population? of Russia?
140.
Yeah.
140
so you got 5 times more
You
chances for somebody
you
to
might
say-
still you wouldn't it wouldn't surprise me, to be fair, if
Yeah.
more Canadians would actually end up helping you than the Russians.
Yeah,
It's
especially like in those isolated areas
Yeah.
where nobody lives.
Random place, you have 20 people living in a village, and you're one of the 20 that gets their car
Yeah.
shut down. Good luck. But like, which one was the hardest to adapt to? Because like Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, you know, so
Kenya.
many. Kenya.
Kenya?
Kenya.
What?
That makes sense, I guess.
Malaria?
They just don't like white people, dude.
Is that bad?
That's
bad.
super racist. It was.
Damn.
Oh.
Again, if you were a customer or you were dealing with customer service or you were teaching them or dealing with them, they were totally fine. But like the random guy that walks by on the street is
It's like
really doesn't want you there.
How long did you live there?
Oddly enough, I think the way I cracked the code was I went jogging everywhere. And
Oh.
so everyone saw you.
well, to a Kenyan, their way from poverty to millionaire is to run or win marathons or be like that.
Okay.
So if they saw an old white guy running, they thought I was an Olympic coach or somebody
Yeah.
there to help their running system.
so
So they treated
basically-
you with lots of respect.
You scam yourself to respect.
Yes, I did. I totally did. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
I was also teaching PE there, so it kind of fit. But yeah,
Oh.
it was to avoid being like if they thought you were a banker or a politician, they just
They don't like you.
they didn't like you. Yeah.
So you were a PE teacher for how many years?
I was a PE teacher for 8 years before I switched over to chemistry.
Why chemistry?
That's what I got my degree in. I actually have a degree in biochemistry, but PE was just easy. It kind of fit the lifestyle.
I mean, yeah, it makes sense, especially if
Yeah.
you're just moving around all the time.
Totally, it was great. We don't mark a lot of papers in PE. Didn't have a lot of extra homework.
Yeah, it's pretty chill.
It's mostly just planning the lesson.
And playing
Being
croquet or ultimate frisbee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Must be cool.
Sounds
It was
chill.
good.
But which country would you say you like? Could you name like 3 countries that you enjoyed the most out of the list, like this long list you taught in?
Saudi is amazing because they're super rich, and at the time it was closed. There were no tourists allowed in
Yeah.
the whole country. So if you were
You were there
there,
during COVID?
no, it was even before they opened up to the. I think it was about 6 or 7 years ago. They had
Oh.
a previous crown prince, and
Yeah,
They
it was
were-
a close country.
yeah, they cut up a body and put it in a suitcase and changed all the rules. I don't know if you remember. Anyway, they locked everybody in the building and said we're going to go 21st century, not state 19th century. So when I was there, it was 19th century. Nobody really knew Westerners, and so you were kind of a little superstar. I got in a car accident, and then the guy invites me to his house for dinner. Like, oh, I can't let this opportunity not to talk to a Westerner come to my house.
God.
Like, it was just the most friendly. They were so chill and cool.
That's
So
cool.
I did really enjoy the Saudis at that time.
So wait, do you know Arabic?
I know a little. I can't read.
Yeah.
Like I never learned
Makes sense.
to read and write. It's a
Yeah.
bit. But conversation, how are you? How's your family? Which way to McDonald's?
They have McDonald's.
Do they have McDonald's?
They didn't back then. I can't remember. It was called Halawi Burgers or something. They didn't have McDonald's back then.
Yeah.
I think they opened it up. You eat shawarma anyway.
Yeah.
The good stuff.
You mentioned the prince in Saudi.
Yes.
You mentioned in the video that I watched. You mentioned a funny story about the prince.
Oh, different worlds. Yeah, like crazy. He doesn't own a passport, so we went on
That's
a
the
school
story I
trip.
saw.
And we get off the plane, and I'm like, I've lost a passport for my volleyball team. And then the one kid's like, you look stressed. What's happening? I'm like, I've lost a passport. He's like, how many do you have? I said 12. But there's 13 of us, and he's like, the prince doesn't have a passport, dude. The whole world knows who he is. And I was like, really? And we come around the corner out of the airplane, and there's like 50 TV cameras. He's visiting the king of Kuwait, who's his uncle. Like, so it's just that they're hanging out, uncle and nephew, and I'm like, oh my.
And you had
God.
mentioned something about it being the first time he took like a normal plane.
Oh,
no?
his birthday present. He wanted. There's 2 airports in Saudi. There's
Okay.
the public airport, which is the size of my hand,
Yeah.
and then the royal family, which is the exact same airport for like 30 people.
Yeah.
So he had never been on the other side of the road with all 4,000 of us in a little building, and so just we get on the airplane and we're served like steak and lobster, and he's like, airplane food isn't this bad, and I'm like, that's not normal.
Imagine thinking airplane food is just like lobster and steak.
All the time. And we get like, we skip all the security lines, of course, and he's like, oh, I
Yeah.
don't know why people complain about the long lines. We're like, dude, they're all
They're all
100 people. You just walk by, like, we're not. So he was super funny, but yet a really cool family and a really cool kid.
So do you feel like, is there some stress involved in teaching someone like that? You know, can you grade them properly? Can you feel like
That's
they're
a really-
favorite?
So I'm not dumb enough, I'm not smart enough, or I'm too dumb, or I don't know how it works, but I'm not overly smooth or
Yeah, okay.
suave with how I
Yeah,
treat
you don't
people.
really sugarcoat anything.
I'm not really going to sugarcoat anything. So his father showed up to our volleyball game. And it was the first time, obviously, machine guns just start pouring in the gym, and you're like, oh, somebody really important. Oh, it's Faisal's dad's here.
That's nice.
Yeah.
So his dad is the Minister of Defense, which is like number 2 in the nation, and he comes in the gym, and Faisal has to introduce me, so he brings me to his father, and his father says, oh, hi,
Yeah.
everything. To
Yeah,
this
I
whole
am
country, and I'm a little bit nervous. And he said, is my son starting today?
Mhm.
And I said, yes. And he said, is my son good enough to start? And I said, I'll be honest with you, we have a team rule that if your parents show up, you play. The first game, it's out of 5, we got lots of
Yeah.
chances. But even if you weren't here, Faisal is the starter for our team.
Okay.
And he gave me like the butt kissing test like instantly. And he said, just so you know, I played 4 years at UCLA of NCAA volleyball.
What?
And I know what good volleyball is. So if my son is playing and he's not good enough to get in the starting lineup,
Yeah.
we're having a chat after the game. And I was like,
Well, if he throws a bad game, you're like, well,
That's what-
I'm dead.
So her career was like
Right.
on the line
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Like a
It's
thin
like-
line.
I have 20 machine guns on me. Depending on how many blocks he makes, I might get shot.
it was a lot of pressure. Faisal played the best he's ever played. His dad was there. He was so excited. He had an absolute blinder. And at the very end of the game, his father crossed the gym and said to me, here's my business card. If you have any problems, you have no more problems.
Dude has a business card to mention that. That's
I
crazy.
don't give this to anybody. I want to thank you because my son has said he has to do all the push-ups and run all the laps, and you've never favored him. And I was like, I thought that was just how normal people
Yeah.
conduct business, but no.
People
For
are
them in
people
that-
are terrified of, especially in a culture like
For
that.
authority, yeah,
Culture
yeah.
like Saudi. Even I feel like even here, like if even if you meet the president, who's not even that popular, to be honest, it wouldn't like. I feel like it would end up like, what's the word to say? You would still end up favoriting the president, even though he's
Yeah.
not that important.
Absolutely.
So in a country like Saudi, I feel like it would be even like 10 times worse.
It's crazy, right? Like that royal family is.
It's like one of the biggest.
Yeah, it's they're
they own everything there essentially.
Like what other countries are there that are that big? Because even UK, I think royal family in UK is massive, like
Yeah.
popularity wise.
You know what? It's not even like a royal family, but in South Korea, Samsung.
It's similar.
Yeah.
Right?
But I think
they
Saudi's
don't they
still-
don't run the country, but they technically like economically
Yeah.
they do.
Saudi,
Pretty much.
it's like that country, that family literally runs
Yeah.
everything.
No, it's like Qatar. It's like Kuwait.
Yeah, I guess that's
Oh,
true.
like Bahrain. Yeah.
Was it same in Bahrain?
I never taught the Al Khalifa family in Bahrain. They went to they didn't go to the international school. They went to the best national school,
Oh,
wow,
which
that's-
wasn't us. They
Yeah.
couldn't come because we didn't offer Islamic studies, and by law they had to take Islamic studies.
That kind of makes
Yeah.
sense.
There's a bit of a loophole there, but yeah,
Okay.
very cool.
You were a homeroom teacher last year.
Yes,
How,
I was.
how do you feel not having a homeroom now? Like,
The 15 minutes at the start of the day is fantastic. I really like that. But also, I think my personality doesn't fit a homeroom teacher. I think a lot of homeroom teachers are more concerned about the finer points of your lives.
okay.
They'd like to know about who your girlfriends are or what shows you went to on the weekend and things like that. And I've always been a little bit more goal oriented, less about the feelings, less about the just produce and I'll leave you alone. As I've always
Okay.
kind of wanted to be left alone when things are going right, just talk to me when things are going wrong.
Okay.
Just a personality.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I wanted to ask you about your other like athletic achievements, so to say, because I remember in one of our homeroom classes last year, you mentioned about something about you like you doing a bunch of other sports. So, like, what would you say do you like besides volleyball? Because we all know that you're a volleyball player and a coach, but except from volleyball, what would you say you enjoy the most?
In the weirdest twist of fate, when I was at university, Ultimate Frisbee was just coming online. But I'm a beach bum, so I've thrown frisbees and played around my whole life.
Yeah.
I was invited to the World Championships for Ultimate Frisbee in the senior division to represent the Emirates of all places. So when I was in Dubai, I was the city champion. We won the whole city.
In ultimate frisbee.
Yeah.
What is
Ultimate
ultimate
Frisbee.
frisbee?
Kind of, I guess you'd be like,
Is it the game that's like kind of like American,
Like American football?
yeah, but you just can't run with
Yeah,
the
yeah,
frisbee.
yeah,
yeah,
So
yeah,
it's more
yeah.
like handball.
We do it in
so-
sport in a way.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
So it's like.
Okay, so
pseudo
basically,
handball.
yeah. So basically, it's like American football. You have the touchdown kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
You were basically professional in that.
well, we won the whole city, and then they wanted me to play, but I think the world champions were in the middle of November, and I couldn't get the week off. So I do kind of regret that.
Yeah. I think your job
I
wasn't
should've
as
went to the world championship.
Imagine being a world champion
In the ultimate frisbee.
for UAE.
Yeah, pretty.
It's like the craziest sentence. you
That's
can
so
say.
random.
I still
Yeah.
feel really happy because Dubai's a city of 10 million people, and we beat everyone in the city. So,
That's the thing. It's not beating everyone in the city in Riga. It's beating
Yeah.
everyone in the city in
In
Dubai.
Dubai, yeah.
which was it was so it was cool. It was and then just pretty much any sport like I'll kite surf and I broke my leg playing football as a kid, so
Football, like-
European football,
Yeah.
soccer. So yeah, I tried to play all the sports as best I could. It was just more time with the boys.
And it was like
Yeah.
no, it's not. It's
I
not
like
culture everywhere though. Like
Yeah.
some people don't really like the sports environment, even with time with the boys. You know, you'd rather sit at home, play video games.
true. And be with the boys on the headset. That's
No,
totally fine.
that's
But
sick.
I was a few more with the chest bumps and the high fives.
Yeah, I mean, you're also older.
Also,
at that time, you didn't have all that.
Totally true. Like there was no online. If you were gonna play Mario, you were in your room all by yourself, and I
Yeah.
was like, well, I'd rather go shoot hoops with
Makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Wait, but surfing in US?
I
in
didn't start
Canada?
surfing until the Caribbean, until I got to Dominican Republic, Costa
okay.
Rica.
Oh.
and those places were easy.
Yeah.
Learning to surf in like those type of countries would be fantastic. You know, like imagine the
So
Yeah.
the atmosphere there to learn how to surf must be. I think only country that might be better is like Australia.
Yeah, New Zealand.
Yeah, like that. Like
Yeah, those countries. I mean, like all of the like Pacific countries, those little islands.
nice. Really good waves in the Pacific.
Yeah.
What brought you to Latvia though? Like,
Well, it's just a super weird twist of fate. I was working in Ecuador after COVID, but when I was leaving COVID Canada, I interviewed for Brazil and Ecuador.
Okay.
yeah.
Brazil, I phoned and talked to Mr. Arthurs, our current headmaster. He was the headmaster of Brazil, and he said they just broke from COVID and he couldn't give me an interview, and it was a busy week. And Ecuador said, we want it. So I took the job in Ecuador. Better to
Yeah.
have one in the hand than
Yes.
two in the bush. And when my 2 years were over at Ecuador, I simply phoned Mr. Arthur, or sent him an email
Yeah.
to Brazil. And he said, oh, I don't work in Brazil. I'm actually in Latvia.
Yeah.
I was just checking my emails for Christmas cards and
Yeah.
greetings at the
Yeah.
start of December. And he said that the Russian working school teachers were having a hard time getting new visas to continue working in Europe. Europe was kicking up the Russian
Yeah.
teachers.
Yeah.
So he just said, I've got this weird opportunity.
Okay, guys. Again,
Technical
technical difficulties
Again? But-
2 times in a row. Crazy.
It's fine. We'll get used to it. someday.
Yeah. Figure something out. Last time we had the same pretty much.
It
thing.
was with the
yeah,
phone.
it was with the phone. Last time the memory on the phone died. And
Yeah, we had to restart. It was it was off. But I mean, once you get used to it, it'll be fine.
Yeah, definitely.
So, like most things in my life, just a twist of fate with Mr. Arthur.
Yeah.
He zigged and I wanted to zag and we met in the middle.
Basically the same with Mr. Pedro, no? But like he also like just worked with him in Brazil.
Yeah.
So you'd have ended up working with Mr. Pedro in Brazil.
I would have been working with all Miss Julia and
Yeah.
all the whole
That's crazy. That's a small world. we live
It's
in.
true. Like
Yeah.
like being such a good teacher, to get a job like opportunity to Latvia from Brazil is quite something. Like you put your name out enough and you've done a good enough job to just push your name to that level.
Yeah.
It's actually really fascinating that you said that because I don't think I applied for a job until about 12 years into my career. So
Wow.
England recommended me to Kenya, and then Kenya said, oh, I know a guy who's I worked with in Thailand. And then Thailand said, I can get you a job in Dominican Republic.
So it was.
So you got
literally
transferred all the time.
Yeah, there's really, and I'm just making up this number, like maybe 200 or 300 really top schools in the world. There's only 100 countries.
Yeah.
Call it 1 or 2 amazing schools in each country. So your headmasters all go to the Europe Council,
Okay.
and then you say casually, "Oh, my chemist is leaving," and he said, "Oh, my chemist is leaving. Maybe do you want my chemist?" And they just pass you around. It's really
Yeah. It's like a big community of
It-
teachers and like.
Which is weird when you think about it.
Yeah.
So many people that you teach every day, and you just, yeah, I have one. He like I have. It's like Pokemon cards.
You know what?
It is in our motto, right? Global citizenship. Like we try to live what we teach.
You know what it reminds me of? When Miss Amina, our economics teacher, she told us about the group chat in WhatsApp.
Oh, yeah.
Like she told us about the group chat that she's in, and there's like 200 economics IB teachers there, and there's the guy who
Including
made
the IB
the
coordinator.
IB economics textbook, and like it's just a
It's quite
crazy big
like,
chat with people.
Having a
around the world.
WhatsApp group
Yeah.
for something like that seems kind of odd in a way, but I mean they get the useful information.
I think the teachers are getting useful information out of it, and that admin guys, they're finding who the best economics. They're conducting interviews silently.
Yeah, although
this
most-
guy's always got good answers. He should-
From what we understood, most of the teachers don't really agree with the things he says in the book.
Yeah.
But I mean, IB's IB. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have any expectations for the volleyball team this year? I mean, you haven't seen who's playing, who's not, but you know we've lost a lot of players.
I would love to get our first victory.
We didn't win a single game last year.
We were.
I wouldn't know. I wasn't a part of it.
I think my take last year is we were an excellent practice team, but when the scores were close, 17-17, we lost like 5 points in a row to lose. We weren't a good game team.
Yeah.
We didn't have the.
Probably the mental.
It's mental. And so just with now that I know the layout, I can book us more games before the tournaments.
Okay.
And that's the kind of.
Yeah, having some friendlies would be nice.
Yeah.
We didn't have a single friendly, I think.
No, and I think we need to get some.
Yeah, you need some friendlies. Even in football, we realize.
Yeah.
In football, we realize that like without the friendlies, even having a friendly with the teachers like what was it, last week?
Last week, yeah.
It was really useful. Like even just understanding like we're booking the pitch in like Baltic Sports Village now. It's actually really useful.
Nice.
So
Yeah, it's very cool.
So you just want to get a win. That's your main goal.
That's the first goal. I think our
Okay.
goal should definitely be to like try to win a tournament. The only reason I say that is I think Poland and Lithuania, they only brought like grade 9 and grade 10 kids. So if we rolled with I think they didn't have very old teams. Oh no, it was Krakow. Did I say Poland? Yeah, it was Krakow. Yeah.
But Lithuania got grade 12s because they were
Oh,
massive.
okay. Then it was 2 of the 5 teams had
Yeah.
basically middle schoolers and young high schoolers. So wouldn't that be great? If we
Krakow
could
is
get-
so
But I
far
mean-
away.
Oh, yeah, there
why
was-
did they bring the like?
Because it was a CISA
Western
tournament. It was a
Poland.
CISA tournament. It was an official tournament. That's the thing. That's why some people were actually taking it really seriously, including me.
Yeah.
It was a CISA tournament, and by doing good in that tournament, we would have been able to actually push our name as an extra grade into CISA. And CISA would be a thing for like football. That's why I think ISL or ISR, both go to like Austria to play football tournaments. They go to like Sweden to play football tournaments. They
Yeah,
go to
it's
so
like
many
with the
different countries.
Lithuanian guys for basketball that came here.
Yeah, exactly. It's the exact same thing. That's like they have this organization that they've gotten their name. They push their name so much that they get their name out to the tournament. So
Yeah.
I would hopefully, another goal was I would love to take our team down to Lithuania.
I would love that. Having
Play a game, stay overnight, play another game in the morning. come back.
even if it's
That
like
would be
Estonia, you have so many countries around. That's the
So-
thing. Being that's one thing like in Europe that is just such a benefit over any other continent as well.
Yeah.
You're so close to any other country at all times, no matter where.
Yeah,
you
and
go.
it's so easy to travel for you, like.
Yeah, there's so many
I don't
like
know,
you can
especially
get
especially like okay in the Baltics, it's kind of like it's easy to go to Lithuania, Estonia, but to other more Western countries is a bit more difficult. But if you live, for example, like Slovakia, you can go to Poland, you can go to Hungary, you can go to Austria, you can go to Slovenia,
You look up,
can
down,
go
left, right.
everywhere, and it's just a bunch of different cultures, different countries. That's so nice. It would be so nice.
I think my best sports league that I played in was Dominican Republic. We either flew to Mexico, Venezuela, Colombia, the Cayman Islands, or Jamaica.
That's just flying.
It was just tropical
flying,
islands,
flying.
non-stop. But just a direct flight,
Yeah.
in and out. So it was great. And then the worst league was Saudi because nobody could visit us. Nobody's allowed in the
Makes
country.
sense.
Yeah.
We had one tournament in Bahrain, and then
I mean, you got some countries close, but Saudi is just that big, and
Also,
literally,
yeah.
and Riyadh is literally in the middle of the desert.
Where you Riyadh?
Nobody can come there.
square in the
Where
middle.
you Riyadh?
I was in Riyadh, yeah. I mean, in the big
Would
one.
make sense.
No, I would assume so.
Yeah.
I think Jeddah also has
Jeddah.
nice schools on the Red Sea,
Yeah.
and then there's one nice school on the Gulf side, which is also nice stuff on the
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. Sport, but to travel and be in your sports team, I think is the best team building activity.
We mentioned
You
like
guys staying up late, and fighting, and making jokes, and being idiots.
we mentioned the prince,
Yes.
and I remember last year you had mentioned I think was it James Milner.
James Milner, I know James Milner.
What like what student of yours was that like? Oh wow! Like now you look back at it and I'm like, oh, I've taught him. Like obviously, Prince of Saudi is like probably has to be out there, no?
Prince of Saudi. I taught the red-haired kid from Harry Potter.
Yeah, you told me.
Oh.
Yeah.
So
Ron
that was in
Weasley.
between.
Oh,
Ron
yeah.
Weasley, yeah. In between, he had just finished the first one, and he wasn't there a few times later because he went off to film the second one. So he was just
That's
there.
Yeah, that's
like,
crazy.
The guy was like, yeah.
Ron Weasley in his prime.
making weird jokes probably like during classes.
Yeah.
You're telling him off, and while he's just making millions fooling Harry Potter.
Yeah.
It was pretty funny, but it was a math class at least where I was like, I don't really need to know this. I'm like, dude, the only thing you have to know is know how to count money. Just do your multiplication table.
What? Yeah.
Yeah. Wait, so that means you were a primary?
He was in grade 8 middle school. They jammed me into middle school for a quick run.
Alright.
Do you teach middle school now, or you teach from grade 9?
No, grade 9 up now.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a bit of right before high school.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Last year.
Upper middle.
Yeah, last year they have to focus on middle school basically.
Yeah.
Finish the IB, then have a chill year in grade 10.
And then the math.
Or so I personally saw it.
No, grade 10 is a chill year.
Grade 10 felt like a chill year.
At least to us.
Yeah.
Maybe current grade 10s. I heard that current grade 10s are struggling a little more than us.
But I mean, I don't know. I felt like it was quite an easy year overall. Grade 10.
I think so. I think we tried to help you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There wasn't a lot of pressure on us. That's the good thing.
Exactly.
There was
Yeah.
nothing you can really fail. Like if you fail the subject, I mean, it's your fault. You really, it was hard to fail.
There were some people that
I failed the subject. I mean, I was this close to not making it to next year.
biology?
I got a 2 in physics in my second semester. Yeah.
How did you get a 2?
Oh well, I'm not taking physics this year, Mr. Jason. I'm sorry, but I'm not doing that bad in computer science, so it's fine.
Yeah.
So it's fine.
You always do good at what you like. I think that's the easy part.
I mean,
He
yeah.
didn't even want to take computer
I
science.
didn't want to
That's
take
the
computer science.
crazy
You
I
gotta take one.
I want to take environmental sciences,
But they didn't
it-
allow him because it interferes with economics.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna not take economics. Although today we had an essay and I'm like, I have a headache and I'm like, oh, I didn't do well. I'm pretty sure I didn't do well, but I mean it's fine. You just fix it with the other grades.
Can't say that. I think I do.
He got a good grade once and now he's all happy and he shoves it in.
It's good
But
grades.
then he
Don't
shoves
say
it in
once. I taught him.
Economics. Economics, it was the only grade. It's the
No.
only grade we've had. It's the only summative we've had.
But for the homicides, all of them are
No,
good.
me too. But summative, everyone got a bad grade basically.
Except for
Then there's Jay. And he can't shut up about it all the time.
He's not gonna troll
People,
you.
people,
I agree.
people in class are depressed and he's just laughing.
I need
smiling.
to troll you.
It got to the point that I had to sit away from him. I sit with him in every lesson. Now it's changed because he took global politics.
Yeah.
Before we
instead of
literally had
business
every
management.
single HL and SL the same. And it was just a pure coincidence. It wasn't even planned.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes it. It's always nice that there's just one person.
Yeah, but sometimes what should
No, same goes
say
here.
I advise you I didn't do anything else. I can get very annoyed. I believe that.
So do I. So can I, yeah.
And last thing from the video. Wait, we just got it out.
Oh, okay.
Ja, wieso hat Eis bestehst?
Boys,
Ist ja aber Eis bist Mutter?
thank you.
Sorry, guys.
No worries.
We're back?
No, yeah, it's fine. In the video, like last thing from the video, we're thinking probably, you mentioned that you love, like you always looked at IB schools as like a superior type of school from Canada because you skipped a year university.
Yes.
Do you still look at it after teaching for 22 years? Do you still look at them as a superior type of school? After teaching in them for like what, 20 years?
Really do. And the more I teach at an IB school, the less I think it's about what you guys actually learn.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's an A and a B. Part A, how you write essays and
Yeah.
do your research, and invaluable. A lot of schools don't really put that on you. But I think actually the IB school attracts the best families. Is that a nice way to say it?
Yeah,
The
I can see what you mean.
networking that you can do in an IB school can be valuable for life.
That's very
Yes.
true.
You-
Yeah.
Your dad is the boss of this and he's the owner of that, and a lot of times the links that you guys just make casually, you don't even know how important they are.
Yeah, that's true.
But
That's true.
in 10 years' time, you find out that some girl named Sasha is,
Head of like
perfect
fashion.
for what you need to do with your business, and you're like, oh, that's my old friend, I'll just make a phone call.
Yeah.
And it'll all work out at the end. You just gotta be nice to everybody.
Yeah.
And it's also very good for like networking later in life. I feel like, especially like for students, because you go to university in a different country, and you can just say that, oh, I did IB in high school, and they're also, and some other person could be like oh yeah, I also did IB, and that's already a link you can have, and you can talk about it. It's just like already a point of intersection that can give you a lot of new opportunities and connections. Yeah.
And I think even more to the point, you guys will probably say things like, oh, I find it so easy because I did IB physics last year, or IB computers.
Yeah.
It's just so easy this year. So
Yeah, you just find it simple, especially in university. I think first year, like you said in Canada, they skip it, but I think in most countries they don't. So it's like first
It's just
year
a
of
free year.
university. It's
Exactly.
like, you know, you look at it easier, you get used to the surroundings, you get used to how they teach, and it just makes it easier for you as a student.
Yeah, and that's the good thing about the diploma. It's really like, I feel like it really prepares you for the university life. You gotta get independent by the time you get into the IB to
I feel like
succeed in it.
boarding for that is like perfect. Being a boarding student and like even here, I feel like would be a perfect situation to like really understand how university is, because you're living alone really, like you're living with a few students, a few teachers, but I mean you're at school at all times and you have to get used to that like reality that you are not really leaving school, are you?
Yeah. And also like boarding is good for like work-life balance in a way, because like you get to do all of your homeworks and stuff. I think it's much more easy to do everything here, but at the same time you also get some stuff. You can do stuff outside of school.
I feel like it depends on the person, because like some people I think would like end up overcrowding, and they would end up getting themselves in a situation where it's like they've stayed at school for so long that they need that like break, they need that mental break.
Mm-hmm.
And when you don't need to do the homework, when you just want to relax, the fact that you're relaxing at school is like the worst thing ever.
Anyway, yeah, it can go both ways, like with everything.
Last thing we also did with Mr. Pedro.
Yeah.
It was like a quick fire, like 15. No,
Let's-
I wrote a few of them. Most of them are kind of similar. We already went over some few things like favorite sport.
Yeah, let's go through it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like a rapid like first thing that comes to mind
Let's-
kind of
yeah.
thing.
Ready.
Okay, first one.
Okay, we had issues again, as you heard, but it's fine.
All right, now the blitz, the final thing.
Ready.
Favorite sport you've been to? Oh, what? Favorite country you've been to?
Mauritius.
Ooh.
Whoa.
Have you been to Seychelles?
I haven't. There's no wind, only waves. So I went further south for the wind.
Kite surfing?
Mauritius kite
How
surfing.
is that?
Oh.
There's a crazy formation underwater waterfall.
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
it's the
yeah,
edge of
absolutely.
the
I've
earth.
seen that, yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So
to
the
kite
waves
surf.
are like crazy there?
The inside is flat and the outside has these moving buildings that chase you. It is the funnest place.
That would be insane.
That would be
Yeah,
insane.
yeah,
Yeah. If you like surfing, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, favorite sport? Volleyball?
To play volleyball.
Watch.
To watch?
Women's Olympic volleyball.
Any
The
reason?
men's is way too offensive. It's just a set
That's
play and a kill,
that's
and the
true.
women.
I wouldn't know
rally
that.
and-
What? No. Like
I
last
think-
year,
yeah.
studying volleyball, I just realized how boring it is to watch in a professional like yeah, it's amazing to see this guy hit a ball at 150 kilometers an hour, and it's beautiful to see, and I could never do that. But watching a sport, and it's like, let's say you're watching football, and literally the whole game is a goalkeeper passes to the defender crosses to the attacker shoots. That's all.
Our game.
Basically. But imagine watching only that. Imagine that's your football.
Oh,
That's the
yeah.
professional.
Yeah, that would be fun.
It's not the best thing to watch. So what's different about women's volleyball?
It just moves up. They don't hit it 150. They hit it 90, and that's you can actually dig the ball,
Yeah.
or you can have a defensive
makes sense.
part.
So it doesn't just end right away.
Longer rallies.
Yeah.
Just more.
Nicer to watch.
Yeah. Okay. Most memorable student moment.
Good memory or bad memory?
Whatever comes to mind first.
Whatever comes, yeah.
I got a letter 10 years later from a guy that graduated Johns Hopkins University with biochemistry and went straight to NASA to do some like Mars chemistry stuff. And he wrote me a letter and said, just so you know, like, thanks, you were mean, you worked us hard.
And do
I
worse.
didn't like it at the time, but it
Paid
got me
off.
to where I needed to go. So
How does
was
that? How does that feel? The fact that you know that you've taught people that are doing things like that, and you know, like we mentioned, the Prince and like James Miller, they're doing other crazy things, but like it's not linked to what you taught them. Whereas this is literally directed from you. He said he didn't like it then, and he kind of changed his mind and led him to such a big change.
I think I like the IB school for both parts of that. One, the curriculum is enough where I can keep pushing, but two, you just have cool kids that ask you for advice about the world or university, and you don't really know how far they're going to take it. So yeah, I like both parts of it.
True. Winter or summer? You're already kind of
Summer 1,000 times.
You're going from a Canadian. Do you like skiing?
I snowboard. I snowboard a lot,
That makes sense.
and I only do it to get out of the house because I have to tell myself get out of the house.
And it's the closest thing to surfing, I guess.
Yeah, it's exactly. It's just like my kiteboard.
Yeah,
cool.
makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's not very surprising. I'm from Russia.
I've never actually snowboarded. No, I've never snowboarded. I've skied.
Yeah, nor have I.
But first time I saw snow was when I was like 10.
Why don't you guys get a school trip out to Mills Collins one night?
Because it's
I think it's like
and
15 euros.
We're
for
grade
2
11.
Yeah, grade 11 we
chance
cannot
of
go
getting a
anywhere.
field trip is already like
No, I don't mean with. I mean you just take 5 days.
I wanted to go with my
we might
friends.
end up doing that.
Yeah.
At some point we'll probably end up doing it.
Yeah.
Super affordable too.
Yeah. It's also close. So.
Well,
You mean
yeah.
45
No,
minutes.
not the other one.
But having a car would be very useful in that
Sure.
situation.
That's different.
Because it's not very public transport friendly.
Yes, I totally agree. Yep.
Okay. Best thing about teaching chemistry.
It's such a beautiful linear subject. Like A goes to B and B goes to C and C goes to D. There's no feelings or no
Yeah, I
student
remember
ever
that.
says, hey,
Yeah.
you should remark this essay because I think your opinion is it. I'm just like, whoa. The answer is 8.2. Like,
Easy to.
It's kind of like math.
it
right?
is. It really. It's like math. It's just very direct, and that's kind of my personal.
Yeah, having like English or economics or something where it's like essay on essay on essay. I
guess.
That's, that's kind of like surprising as because you said that you're like a biochemist and the bio side doesn't really match up with the math side oftentimes.
Yeah,
Sure.
I grew up with the comic books and Fantastic Four and genetic experiments
Yeah.
and
So,
DNA.
so
I
you
wanted
have-
to be a geneticist. It was
Oh,
the whole thing.
okay.
Okay,
I would
that's
assume.
really interesting.
Yeah, I would assume you were on like physics chemistry side, not on
yeah.
biochemistry.
From
No,
the way you
it's
teach,
pure genetics.
I would assume the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Oh, that's good.
Okay. Morning person or night owl? You.
Night owl, terrible. Like
Yeah.
like looking at the clock and saying I should go to bed and then just playing one more level. just the worst. I'm the worst night person.
I'll add a question to this. So phone games or like computer games?
No way, computer games. I wouldn't leave my house for 3 weeks if
You just can't have a computer game.
Just so you know, like
Yeah.
my dream is to get the new computer, Baldur's Gate 3, and just never leave my house for a week. And I cannot at all give myself that. So it's just phone games, 30 minutes a day. Put it down, get back.
Makes
into the
sense.
world.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go to travel activity.
Like
Kitesurfing.
no.
Go to. Because this is my justification. You go for the wind. The wind always comes on the beach somewhere.
Mhm.
And if there's no wind, it's just a gorgeous day at the beach. Like when it all goes wrong, you're just suntanning at the beach looking at the waves.
Yeah, it's like it's one of those activities that the bad side is
A
just
total-
as good.
Yeah. So I do like that.
That's cool. Favorite element on the periodic table.
That's a gem. That's a good one.
I feel like that's the question that people that don't know
carbon.
chemistry
I
ask.
think carbon,
Yeah.
organic chemistry,
Okay.
genetics.
I don't know what
I feel like people that don't know chemistry ask chemists this question.
So I just put it there because it's like I don't know. I had to relate it to
Because I know
chemistry.
some more chemistry. I wouldn't ask this.
But it's like a
It would
chemistry
feel
question.
too like generic.
It does
to-
seem kind of stupid.
Yeah.
I mean,
To a chemist, it's a good question. I think it's a good question.
All right. Favorite TV show / movie.
Breaking Bad killed it.
Ah.
I shouldn't, but I mean, for a chemist, well, that's a pretty.
are you a TV show person? Like, are you the type? of
No,
person that-
surprisingly not. I'm not really a big series 80 hours.
Breaking Bad is just that
but
good.
Breaking Bad.
It's just that good.
I love
Have you
it.
seen Saul? Like Better Call Saul?
No, I stopped there. But
you should.
Alright.
It's also a gem.
I'll
It
download
links,
it.
it links the whole thing.
Yeah,
together.
alright.
Yeah,
I'll
it's
take
like a
your advice.
universe. It's super
Alright.
cool. Tea or coffee?
Neither. No.
You don't consume coffee?
So you were
No coffee.
in Saudi, in Dubai.
Oh my god, I lived in Kenya with the best beans on earth. I lived in Indo with the Java bean. I lived in Saudi with the Arabic bean. I lived
Well, I
like
mean,
in
in Dubai,
Colombia
it's the
and
same
Dominican
thing, yeah.
Republic. Like, I've been in the coffee centers of the universe.
Ecuador.
Just, no thanks.
You don't consume caffeine?
I do terribly drink once every couple of days. I drink a Coca-Cola, and that's
Yeah.
my biggest. I should stop it and drink coffee. It's so much healthier to just stop drinking coffee.
Yeah, have
and drink
have a black coffee.
Yeah, I
It doesn't
need to
taste as
switch.
nice though, does it?
I don't get
So
that.
favorite drinks is Coke, Coca-Cola.
I love hot chocolate too, dude. I'm a
Ooh.
4-year-old kid. The hot
I
chocolate and
kinda
yellow
get- I
bun
kinda-
I kinda
is
get
so
that.
good.
I can respect that.
Yeah.
Well, I make hot chocolates for myself more than I make a
Okay,
coffee for
yeah.
myself. Although I do like a nice cappuccino.
Okay, yes, ice. Okay, summer I'll hit on ice coffee every now and then. Yeah, that's good.
Alright. If you weren't a teacher, what would you be?
Definitely science.
If not a scientist? Not related
Nothing
to chemistry.
related to your.
Whoa.
But then I guess we're gonna say like a gym teacher or something like something to do with sport, probably, no?
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some sort of sporting bum guy.
Okay.
That'd be nice.
Best advice you've ever received? That's a good question.
I don't even know where the quote comes from, but it's just smile and the world smiles with you. It's truly, if you're happy.
Especially in
everybody else
IB,
is
I feel like
happy.
that's so true.
Kinda.
In the way that's like the teachers kind of show you respect on a personal level rather than just you're a student, I'm a teacher.
Some
Respect
do.
those boundaries. But I feel like most of them don't, and that's the nice thing about IB.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the nicest transition I saw between like a public school and this.
Nice. That's
Yeah.
really nice. It's a good compliment for us.
I mean, most challenging IB subjects to teach, but you only taught two.
No,
right?
but what do you think?
What
is
do you
hard?
think would be? Yeah.
The most challenging
Yeah.
one to teach?
You know, you speak to Mr. Kristaps often.
No, you speak to
many
other
teachers.
teachers,
Exactly.
yeah.
You speak to many teachers.
I taught environmental studies for 3 or 4 years, and it's ridiculous. Like,
Really?
none of the data, all the data is wishy-washy. Everybody can take two sides. Is
It's kind of TOK.
plastic bad? Well, not really. If you turn it into an island, then it's extra. Like, it's so much. Yeah, it's very TOK, especially compared to chemistry, where it was like plus or minus. There was nothing in between.
Yeah.
So
So it's TOK. It's a TOK in science.
it
Basically.
really is, and
And
it
since you said you hate
did my nut in.
You hated TOK and that's why you tortured
No, I love
us with
TOK. I have a degree in philosophy and religion, religious studies and philosophy. I love TOK. I like
Damn.
all my books. I love.
But you don't
TOK.
like correcting essays.
No, I don't. I love the whole idea of the philosophy and how to think and epistemologies and things like that. But my word against your word, and I have to mark you wrong, even though you felt you were right, and I'm not. That's
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
That's something I don't really like about TOK, to be honest. But I don't
yeah, the subjectivity of it.
Yeah.
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 City life or countryside?
Country most. Oh my god, I live in Pinky, dude. I don't even live in Vermont
Yeah,
anymore.
makes
I
sense.
love the country. I'm an old man.
Okay, 2 last questions.
Yes.
One skill you 3 actually.
Okay.
We forgot to put something important there.
Okay.
One skill you wish every student had.
I wish they all read books. I know how old
That's-
timey that is, but I wish they
that's a
would pick
good-
up paper and just fall in love with that.
That's a good.
That's a good.
skill to have.
That's a good
I
skill.
think that.
I wish every student had that skill.
Wish you.
No, every. I'm not the worst in class, to be fair.
Yeah.
There are some worst. I'm not gonna name drop.
Yeah.
People
No,
don't
you can
care.
tell who reads books and you can tell who watches videos based on books.
Yeah.
And there's always.
I read.
And you can see who watches videos.
Yeah.
Not
Exactly.
based on them.
Yeah.
I read that every once in a while. It's fine.
So what's the questions I forgot?
What kind of music you like? Favorite
I
band?
did want to mention that.
Yeah, it's too much life in the Caribbean for me. I love reggae.
Oh.
Or not really reggaeton, but like a reggae or Spanish reggae even, but just a simpler beat.
Chill.
If you want to give me house or something like that, that's fine also, but like
Yeah.
the hard techno and things like that, I'm kind of over it.
What are the questions that I forget?
How forget?
To answer your question, so you can edit No pets, they interfere with my travel. No fish, no cats, no dogs. When it's time to go snowboarding, snow. The problem is wind and snow, you can't depend on the weather, so.
If you had like, if
you go to someone's house.
Yes.
Would you rather them have a cat or a dog?
Again, I'm a little biased. I would personally like a dog. I grew up with big dogs. They're fun. Take them for a dog, wrestle with them in the yard, do. But now that I'm the owner, give me a cat so I can just throw it outside and come back in a week and it's still alive.
I kind of get that.
Just let it
makes sense.
Like right now, I do say that, okay, I have 3 cats, but I mean, I prefer dogs so much. Like, dogs are so much better.
They really are.
But
cats are really like, they're low maintenance.
Super low maintenance, and they give you low love. Like, it's a nice balance. Dogs are high maintenance, high love.
I had a cat, died like last year, 17 or something. It was like.
That's a long time.
Dude.
Yeah. No, my whole life.
What's your dog?
I'll tell the story. Basically, like, and he died, but like he was the most loving cat ever. At the end, it was kind of sad. Like he couldn't walk, he couldn't stand up. He was demented. He was walking into walls. He was drinking water, and his head falls into water. It's like he laughed, but like it's sad.
Yeah, it's sad. It is.
The story he wants me to tell is like when I moved here, we had a small dog. It was like a Chinese like hairless dog, one of those. And apparently they're really expensive in China because they sell them for food. Like they actually, it's not even a joke.
Yeah.
Like they actually do sell them for food. And when I got him, it was still in Malta. I was like 6. I was asking for help for so long, and they get me this dog, and I just started crying. It's such an ugly dog. I'm like, that's not a dog, it's a rat. And I've grown to love this dog. Like I've had it for like 3 years. We moved.
Is it named McNuggets? What did you name your dog?
I forgot the name. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay.
One day we're moving into the new house. He was at like my grandparents' house in Latvia. Dude on a bike just drives along and just takes the dog. Chased him for like 1.5 kilometers, but like he just disappeared.
I'm gonna go to hell for laughing. It's just such
So
a
I go
ridiculous
from
situation.
hating this dog because I just didn't want it because it was ugly, to loving this dog because it's the first dog I actually got, to a guy just randomly stealing it. And I already hated the fact that I had to move to Latvia. Few weeks in, my dog gets stolen before I start school. Amazing.
That's probably the second best quote of my life. Might be careful what you wish for. That's all stuff.
I'm pretty sure he ended up selling him on like eBay or something.
Oh, probably.
I feel bad for laughing, but
You know how long I searched for those dogs on eBay, trying to look for him. I was checking Facebook Marketplace and stuff. Well, I was searching like I was hoping. Never found
a Chinese restaurant.
Gambay.
Gambay.
All of a sudden they have discounts. special menu.
Personalized menu.
But I mean, it is what it is. I wouldn't have wanted to eat him, I think. I would have thought about it. Weird way of cremation, I guess you could say. Okay, that's been it for the second episode. Probably next episode we'll get Mr. Pedro again. Probably after the break, so it's gonna be like 3 weeks until next episode.
Maybe. We have some interesting guests coming up.
Yeah, we've confirmed some interesting guests.
Very interesting guests. Not gonna
Thank you
name
very
them.
much, guys. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.